if any of these videos ever get popular, do you think I'm gonna be embarrassed that I look like a troll in every one of them? And just like made no effort to make sure that they were like flattering? I'm not. I don't care. I literally don't care. Y'all should check out the rest of my social media. I don't care. This is what I look like. Nobody cares. Nobody would even think about it if I didn't start every fucking video talking like this. So obviously I do care. Maybe I need to start being honest about that. But I don't care enough to do anything about it. So that's where we're at. Also, why is my face so pasty if my arms are so tan? Again, we're all just gonna I look like I have a different head on a different body. And we're just gonna deal with that. We're gonna deal with it. This is what I'm bringing to the table, guys. This isn't about how I look. This is about the message. Always. Is it gonna be a great message? I have no idea. It's whatever you make of it. It's literally whatever you make of it. I see some shit posts that I can make really good life lessons out of, so it's all in the power of you. You are the messenger here. Right, quit being defensive. I don't need to be defensive. This is not the right use of my skills, being defensive. Bringing up this stuff at all. What is the right use of my skills? I'm already doing it. Okay. What are we talking about right now? What are we gonna talk about? Can I have, I wanna do clarifiers. I haven't done like a spread with multiple clarifiers. Okay, that isn't what I mean. Can I have some cards face down first to work with? No, but you can have every single one of these cards face up. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much. You know what I'm supposed to be doing? Okay. This is probably why the deck has been so weird and why my readings have been so weird. I can't guarantee that the next one's not gonna be weird too, because I'm fucking weird. But we're gonna go with this right now. And then I'm going to cleanse and clear and recalibrate my deck. And then the next time I do a reading, I'm going to do a blessing prior to it. And I'm going to call on specifically my ancestors and guides and angels. That's who's always around me. So I don't really think twice about it. I'm not really concerned about negative energies because I alchemize things. But I think that's why my readings have been so weird and hard. I think that energies that aren't in my best interest have been trying to come through. And I've been working with it. But I don't need to do that much work. I just need to rely on the universe to clear those things for me so I can just step into alignment and do my job, and then it's done. And that's how you handle blockages. Good little self-reminder there. Hold on. Drink some more water. Oh no, guys. Okay, let's see. There's 2, 4, 6, 7 cards. I wonder if I can push this back at all. A little bit. A little bit. Okay. What? Interesting. Interesting. Okay, so I have the cards all came out face up. Instead of denying them and receiving them the way that I had asked, I decided just to take them. Also something I normally wouldn't do. If you can't tell by my demeanor and the way that I look, a little bit of lackadaisical. I got hit with the lazy bug the last couple days because I'm on my menses cycle. And so then I got out of whack with my workout routine because I was in a lot of pain, and I've been fasting a bit. I've cut my calorie intake by like 2/3, and I was already on a diet. And I've been drinking as much water as possible, but even that I haven't been doing as much as I was 3 days ago. So the last 3 days have been a little weird for me. Okay. Okay, so I have 3 cards that came face up. And I have 7 cards that came face up. 3 of them have blue background, 4 of them have yellow background. So the way that I was told to put the reading, or the way that it makes sense to me, is to have the 3 on top, the 4 on the bottom. This is a very weird way to read, but I have them lined up. I have them lined up like this, and so the way I'm going to read them is that this one will have these 2, this one will have these 2, and this one will have these 2. Okay, glad we got that covered. So the 7 of Wands in reverse. Okay, so the story that I have is the 7 of Wands in reverse, the 6 of Cups in reverse, and the Queen of Wands in reverse. Which right now is resonating to me as a lack of discipline. Maybe it's just because the light's right in my fucking face. A lack of discipline, a lack of generosity, and a lack of spiritual attunement. Being clarified by, so my lack of discipline being clarified by the King of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles in the upright, the Fool in the upright, the Knight of Pentacles in the upright, a lack of discipline. What's always constantly resonating in the back of my head lately is income flow and increasing my flow of income consistently, and how I haven't been necessarily working on that because I've been in this state of rest, but I also kind of have been putting off properly planning in the idea that the universe takes care of me, and it does, but I don't need to keep putting myself in a position of needing to be cared for, right? I'm being asked to put these skills to use to move forward in the future. I can still be in a state of rest. I can still have this period of ease, but I am supposed to be prepping to move into a position of being able to be able to give freely. The Knight of Pentacles is right next to the Fool, so it's kind of, to be able to give freely. And also the lack of discipline coming from being a little too carefree in that way, right? Or I've made up for it to a degree by cutting my calories, right? So it's oh, well, I've been less active, so I cut my calories. But ultimately, that isn't the healthiest, it just isn't a healthy balance. It isn't part of my healthy balance. I already had the healthy balance, and I've let not feeling well interfere with that. I have. So this seems like a personal read right now. I will try to communicate it into a more general, universal type of read, collective type of read. But it also, I think, is kind of an opportunity for you to be able to take personally from it, just based off of what I take personally. And I'll just bring up my stuff, and hopefully that in of itself can have its own education. So the Six of Cups in reverse, lack of generosity. Clarified by the Fool and the Three of Wands. So when people in my direct like line of connection, like people that are like in my active life right now that could use help, and it's like I've always been the one to go to with those things, and I've always you know, like taken that seriously, held myself with that sense of responsibility, and offered myself that way to people. It didn't matter what was going on in my personal life, didn't matter what else was going on. I've always been that for other people. And I've been coming into a point of like not giving to people so consistently. Not out of lack of generosity, as I'm reading right here, but out of a self-protection method, right? And mostly to be able to ground myself properly without giving my energy out, just to ground myself, just to focus in on myself, take everything into myself so that I can take proper inventory of myself spiritually and emotionally, you know, and then from there be able to make wiser choices as to who I'm giving that energy to. But I have gotten less than generous in that state. And I have gotten a bit protective in that state as well, which obviously neither of those energies are ultimately serving my highest good and greatest good, which is a civil servant, to be honest. You know, caring for myself is how I can ensure that I can care for others as best as possible. But so if I'm not caring for myself, I'm not able to truly care for others as much as I would like to. And when I'm allowing people to idolize the care that I have to offer in different ways, that's also very dangerous and very toxic. And when I cater to certain codependencies, it can be very dangerous and very toxic. So that's what I've been keeping myself from. However, there is a bit of like arrogance here in, you know, well, I've already got myself set, and these are the things that I'm looking at, and these are the things that I have for myself. And right now I'm just in my own world, so I don't need to be in that place of being generous. I wouldn't even say, like, this isn't striking me as necessarily negative. It's the Eight of Wands. I don't know if I kept saying the Seven of Wands, but it's the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands tends to resonate less than positive for me. Like I'm always pulling some sort of kind of negative connotations from it. Not negative as in bad, but negative as in not positive. However, it is in the reverse, and honestly, like, just the way that these cards look, like, I'm not getting any sort of actual full negativity out of any of it. So it's almost like these reversals are more reflective of just the facts and where I'm at in this time. I will pull more clarifiers later to see if there's something else being expected of me at those times. Obviously, even as I'm communicating these things, I'm recognizing that there's more that I could do, which is a good thing to always be able to recognize. But I'm still on the fence as if there's more I should do. I know that there is for myself. I know that there is for myself. But like this card, like as I was reading it, like, should I feel like if somebody in my vicinity is energetically reaching out for, well, they're reaching out for help, okay? And that's what I'm here to offer the world. However, they're not communicating that, truly. They're still, because they're not to that place of humility in themselves yet. So the way that they're expressing themselves and communicating their need is with an expectation that I will do the emotional labor to recognize that need, and that I will do the spiritual work to empathize with it, and that I will do the leadership work, the leading work of encouraging them, giving them my time and space and energy, so that they have somebody to talk to about different things. But it's like the last time I offered myself that way, it was very obvious that this person, like the person that I'm thinking of specifically, it's very obvious that like they're really in a place right now where they're only thinking of themselves, and they're in a victim mentality about it. And like I've always kind of been one to, like, when I recognize that in people, because I recognize that in myself consistently, and that to me was always like the mindset that would drag me down. That was the leading worst mindset that I had, right? Was that victim mentality. And so when I would catch other people getting into that, I would like rush to their aid to save them from themselves that way, right? But I'm not doing that anymore. I already determined that I'm not going to do that for people anymore. Not because I don't care about their souls and that I don't want to see people go through depressions and struggles. But I've had to learn to separate myself from taking on that emotional labor and sense of responsibility for other people's lives and emotions. I had to go through those things myself. And that is what taught me that I wasn't a victim. I actually was capable of overcoming those things. You know, and so it's hard to find that balance of like, you know, but I already did it. I already did it, and I found it extremely draining. And I found myself feeling like I needed to pull away and like I needed to protect myself from that energy. And as soon as I pulled away and started protecting myself, that energy started to become very chaotic and started to freak out and started to be very needy and started to follow me around everywhere and just waiting on even just to catch my eyesight, right? Just to touch a bit of the cloth of my robe so that they could just feel something of that healing energy that I was so freely giving prior. And I can appreciate that faith. I can. But at the same time, I cannot validate it. Because unlike Jesus, Jesus already came. The sacrificial lamb already came, already got crucified. That sacrifice was already made. When Jesus comes again, it is to be a sword of truth, to separate even families from themselves, even mother from daughter and father from son and partners from each other. It's an unfortunate truth, but that's where we've led ourselves in this world. It's not a fun position to take on. It's not a fun role, but it is necessary. If I am to truly love people, I have to let them destroy themselves if that is their choice. That's the truth of it. Because we have come to a point at this point where it's no longer received as anything other than control. Everybody's in control of themselves. The sacrifice has already been made. The sacrifice has already been made. So I can't let love my love control anybody else's actions and let them just fall back on that, that ends up destroying me. Okay? And that is not where we're at any longer. And that is not the kingdom I am building for myself. And it doesn't actually do anything. We're in a time and place, too, where people who are willing to take on that energy, who are looking for that energy from somebody else, are just looking for a scapegoat. They aren't looking for an actual savior. If they were looking for an actual savior, then the little bit I'd already done, I would see the influence of that and the effects of that. Because I have spoken truth and I have given genuine love and I have put my good work out there. And it was received, but it was received with an expectation that it went just straight to the ego. It was received straight to the ego and with a sense of expectation that it was going to continue to be given. And as soon as it stopped being given, instead of there being a sense of appreciation for the fact it was ever given at all and trying to figure out what to do with what was already given, there became an immediate concern and attachment style that I'm extremely uncomfortable with. And am not here to cater to. That is not my job. That is not my job. You know, so that guilt isn't mine. And it's unfortunate to watch other people walk around and want to carry that and want to live in that energy. But I don't have to. I do not have to, and I do not choose to. In fact, I choose not to. I choose to do the work within myself that I need to do so that I don't feel those ways. That's what I'm doing. If somebody else doesn't want to do that, that is unfortunate for them. And I hope and pray that that leads them to where they need to be. Because I have definitely been there before. And there's been times in my life that, that's the only thing I could manage. And I was in those places for long periods of time. I've been in that mindset for years, for lifetimes. If that's what it takes. If that's what it takes for some people. And I'm a slow-ass learner. So I really honestly have faith that, like, if I just let people deal with their shit and just keep doing my best so that, like, at least the example that there's something greater out there still exists. That's what hope looks like nowadays. You know? It doesn't look like me force-feeding you my concepts of love and then you force-feeding yourself or like forcing it upon yourself, trying to emulate me so that you can have what I have. You don't need what I have. I need what I have. You need what you have. So no, I'm not going to feel guilty for being... for setting boundaries. I am a generous person. I am a caring person. I am a very kind person naturally. I truly am. But that doesn't mean that I have to be a doormat. That doesn't mean that I have to just let myself be taken advantage of. I am also the truth. And the truth is not those things. The truth speaks for itself. The truth just holds to itself and then is proven in the end. All these different lies come up against the truth. All of the different lies will come up. That's part of the process. But the truth stands at the end. So, you know, I'm not going to take that on. The Queen of Wands that I have is clarified by... The Queen of Wands in reverse is clarified by the Three of Wands in the upright and the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse. So I was reading it and then I understood where it was going. So I just took that little break to explain. And now this is what was just explained. The lack mentality that leads to a negative receiving of energy is I mean, that's what it's talking about. You know, we have the Three of Wands. There's just no truth in it. But it's all a matter of perspective and perception, right? So the Three of Wands now, in clarifying this card, is representing to me like staring off into the void. Being like, man, there's so many different things that I could do, so many different places I could be. So much opportunity lies ahead of me. And I'm just unsure. I don't even know what to think. I'm a miss. It's like this blankness, this apathy starts to set in about it. Yeah, it's like an apathy, and then the negativity comes in with the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, which is like an anxiety and fear and of lacking material, what is needed to feel truly comfortable and confident in oneself, in one's ability to give of oneself. And that's just what I'm talking about, right? You know, I was raised Christian, and I was raised with these concepts of Jesus and, you know, turn the other cheek and lay one's life down for their friends and, you know, don't even speak when they crucify you. And this is what makes you a righteous, acceptable person. But again, that was for a time. That was for a time. Christ has returned. The Word has returned in the flesh. Again. Happened 2,000 years ago, came as a sacrificial lamb. The Word is here right now, speaking through me, in the flesh. I am in this third dimension. I am living here in this world. I really am. And I've experienced a lot in this reality in order to be able to speak on the things that I speak on. They aren't just words popping out of my head. It isn't just concepts and ideas. These are experiences that I can speak on because I'm actively in them and have actively been in them and am still able to alchemize from those experiences. The Word is in the flesh right now, before you. And it does not look like what you thought it was going to look like, because what you thought it was going to look like is not what was prophesied. You thought it was going to look like what already came and was already crucified. You already put that to death. You already refused that. You already chose you didn't want to take it the easy way. So that way is dead and gone now. And now the new way is being presented. The only other way. This is it. This is judgment. And what it looks like is in true, honest embracing of oneself in one's fullest capacities at any given point in time. I don't know if I mentioned it in my reading earlier. No, I took a picture of it. I took a picture of it and put it on my Facebook. But my tea today, my tea has these little messages, and my tea today said, gratitude is not about what is received. It's about how you receive what is there. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at now. Our souls have had 2,000 years to receive things the loving, kind, sweet way that was going to sit there and coddle you and carry you and be the propitiation for you. We are not there anymore. You've been asked for 2,000 years to carry your own cross. And where is our progression led us? This is why I have respect for so many different types of people that, you know, the family I grew up with would consider demonic for those things. How dare they just embrace themselves that way and with no shame, the shamelessness of the world today, which was prophesied. But it's essential in the truth coming as it was foretold to. There can be no shame. Those that are living in shame are not living in a new life. They're not living free of sin. They're completely bound to it. Those living with constant death on their tongues Instead of transition, those that are constantly damning everything as evil, and this is evil, and this is evil, and the world's coming to an end, and everything's terrible, and all of this and all of that, those aren't people that have love in their hearts. Those aren't people that have been freed from the weight and burden of sin. All they have in their minds is sin. They have been completely given over to it. Completely given over to it. Absolutely radicalized. That's them. That's you. The people that sit in judgment. If you're watching this and you're not sitting in judgment, I'm not talking to you, and you will know that, and it won't resonate with you. If these things are resonating with you and hitting, it's because you either know who I'm talking about or you know that it's you. The only hope that there is that we choose to embrace ourselves as we really are and then move from that point forward. So when somebody who I know is hurting and I know is struggling and I know is going through a hard time and who sees me as a healer, because I've already proven myself to be such, is begging energetically for me to just do the thing, but the way that they ask for that and are able to communicate that is by asking if I have anything stronger than meth on me. Like I'd even fucking have meth on me? Like, what kind of inference is that? That, I don't receive it. I don't receive it. That's a reflection of that person, not of me. And I'm not here for it. Obviously they are, and that's their choice. I'm all about people accepting their freedom. I wish that, people actually wanted to be free and would quit using the freedom that we all innately have to enslave themselves, but that is the choice that people have. And I respect that. I no longer am trying to claim people for the kingdom. Those that will come and that will be called will recognize the voice when it speaks. Those that are meant to understand will understand when those words are spoken. Those that have eyes to see will see. Those that have ears to hear will hear. So I don't need to force. I don't need to feel guilt for not throwing all of my energy and all of my skills into the work of what? Somebody else? What somebody else needs? If I focus on my alignment with the universe, my alignment with my highest power, my alignment with my greatest good, I will just be used the way that I need to be used. I already was. What I'm watching is karma. I don't like to watch it. I straight up said that I'm quite tired of it. This isn't what I would have chosen to do myself, to be honest. I would have chosen to be lazy and on drugs and having sex with anybody that would have sex with me, if the choice would have been mine. However, the universe had different plans for me and moved me into positions in my life where I didn't have a choice but to survive. And through those acts of survival, and through that treachery, and through all that fear, and through all that loss, and through all that lack, I learned, and I became stronger, and I had to embrace myself because there was no one else for me to embrace. There was nothing else for me to embrace. There was no board floating around that I could hold on to keep myself from sinking. I had to learn to swim. That wasn't my choice. The universe called me to that. Okay, because there has been plenty of other people in this position that have not been called. Or they just didn't listen to that call. Okay, then I'm just going to sink. Then I'm just going to drown if nobody's going to save me. Okay. Then you're literally just going to drown. I know it's harsh and I know it sounds counterintuitive to our concepts of love and empathy as they have stood for the last 2,000 years. But let me tell you what, I was suicidal from the time that I was 8 years old until the time I was 30. Actively suicidal. I started to have suicidal ideations as young as 6. But I became actively suicidal from the time I was 8 until the time I was 30, with few respite in between. And it took until I was 30 and 2 people that were extremely close to me, 2 people that I loved and cared for and held higher than most, who I thought felt the same about me, who got so tired of me expressing how much I wanted to kill myself and kept trying to do it but not succeeding, you know, because I was scared and because I wasn't really pushing myself to that point, right? And that's all I was trying to do. I was trying to get myself to the point where I could have enough balls to just do the thing. And I kept beating myself down because I was like, man, I can't even do that right. What a piece of shit. I can't even kill myself right. That was the mindset that I had, okay? And my partner at the time and his own mother said, you know what? After bringing me to the hospital back and forth, getting me hospitalized multiple times. I was hospitalized like 4 different times over the course of 2 years. For weeks. For my mental health. I was on antidepressants and I was abusing them. I was buying a bottle of whiskey and then trying to take all of my antidepressants at once with a bottle of whiskey. My ex had to save my life 2 different times. And that was extremely straining on them. And they are not upstanding moral people. And they're not trying to be. And they put themselves out for me in that way. In a way that they were not even fully built for. And definitely not accustomed to. And they gave me more than they wanted to even. They just were called to. They had to. And so they did. But then they hit a wall. They said, you know what? Both of them said, then just do it. Just do it. If you really want to kill yourself, then do it. Well, that's not what I ever wanted to hear. It's not what I ever wanted to hear. I had heard that from my stepdad when I was younger, but in different ways. And he had done it facetiously. And maybe it was just the relationship that I had with him, or my parents in general, or with myself at the time, but I took it differently. But when I heard that from them at that time, from my ex and his mom, I mean, it hurt in such a different way. Because I was like, well, wait, that's not what I actually want. It's not what I actually want. And I told that to my ex, and he was like, then why do you keep saying it? And why do you keep doing it? And why do you keep putting us through this? And I didn't know. I was sick. I was broken. I was lost. I was confused. I didn't know. And at that point, I was like, okay, I will actually start accepting all of this help. I'd already been in therapy for years, but I wasn't letting it sink in. I was doing the work. I was doing the surface things, but I wasn't letting it change me, because I knew who I was. No, I didn't. I had no idea who I was. And who I thought I was trying to kill. Okay? I was self-destructing. And I didn't have the answers. And nobody else had the answers for me either. There was help there. There was support there. And the first step for me was to just at least recognize that. Because honestly, I fully wasn't. I didn't realize how impactful it was that there were doctors and nurses and scientists who had done all of this work to be able to provide a medication that actually did help me to be able to stop hitting those desperate lows where I couldn't even catch myself. And in being on that medication, I started to realize that as long as I didn't get to certain lows, I could do certain emotional labor. I could do certain work. The person that I had portrayed myself to be in all of those actions and in those mindsets was not the person that I am. It was not the person I was meant to be. It was not the person I even knew myself to truly be. And it took them responding that way for me to really look in that mirror, that proverbial mirror, and to be able to be like, this isn't me. This isn't who I am. This isn't what I want. What do I want? I don't want this. Okay, that's a start. It's better to know what you don't want if you can't figure out what you do want, and then to move from there. If that's what you don't want, then stop doing that. at least stop doing that. You know, that was when I first started really implementing that I didn't want to be with anybody physically and started having bouts of celibacy. I would fall into lust after a few months of being celibate and would throw it all to the wind for whoever it was I felt the most lustful towards. And that continued to prove to not be terribly valuable or helpful. And so I've learned so many disciplines. I've learned all of these disciplines over an extended period of time of giving myself that time. Okay? But that's what it took. That's what the Sword of Truth did in my life. That was the Sword of Truth speaking. That was the Word of God speaking through people that don't even believe in God. If you want to do the things that you say you want to do, then do it. Who's holding you back but yourself? You're right. I was literally actively trying to kill myself. It's not that I didn't want to. It was that I had not given myself the chance to actually truly look at myself and realize that that isn't what I actually wanted. I just didn't want my life to be the way that it was. I didn't want to die. I just didn't want to keep living the way that I was living. I didn't hate myself. I just hated the identifications I had chosen to cling to, and I hated the relationships that I had founded and how toxic everything was. I hated my behavior. I hated the things that I kept turning to. And it wasn't even that I hated those things either, really. I couldn't handle the fact that I was continuing to abuse everything. You have to be able to break things down and to go through the process. I can explain what it's looked like for me, and I hope that it helps. That's the best that I have. That's the best that I can do. It's just example these things. Because I have tried to be that savior for people, and there are people that I've talked off of ledges plenty of times, okay? There's people that would thank me with their lives for different ways that I've been there for them, and that is beautiful and blessed. But ultimately, they still have to do the work themselves. Ultimately, I'm no savior. I'm just a person that happened to be there at the right place and time and was willing to give of myself for them. You know, but I'm at a time now where, like, it still happens, but generally speaking, like, that's not my role. That's not what I'm called to do. I've already done what I'm supposed to do. And that just comes naturally. The second that it becomes this forced thing and there's guilt as part of it, and I'm feeling guilted like I'm supposed to be sitting here giving my energy and giving my care a certain way because that's what this person needs. No, what that person needs is themselves. And I can't be you. I can't show you you. I can't help you. Only you can help you. I can't heal you. I'm a healer. I can't heal you. You heal you. I just help show you how. That's the best I have. And really the only way I can do that is by doing it through myself. I could not tell you how to get over certain addictions or how to get over certain mindsets if I hadn't gone through those things myself. I couldn't tell you how to deal with sexual assault had I had not been through it myself. I couldn't tell you how to deal with having abortions and still move on without hating yourself for the rest of your life had I not gone through that myself. I couldn't tell you how to deal with homelessness or how to deal with uncertainty with your jobs or your relationships, or how to deal with broken families and being estranged from them and being alone. I couldn't tell you these things had I not been through these things myself and done the work myself to work through those things to get to a better place. I can't do alchemy for you. I can only show you how it works. And I can't bring you into my past any more than just sharing my stories with you. So that's the best I have to show you how so much of this has worked in my life. It does work. The fact I am here right now speaking words is proof that it works. Is proof that the truth is true, that the love of God is real, that we have God innately within us and can access God at any time, even in our lowest of lows. I am proof of that. So the best that I have is to show you as best as I can the truth of who I am so that you can better understand how those things truly work. That's why I don't look the way that I'm expected to look when it comes to a person speaking the word of God, when it comes to the word in the flesh, when it comes to speaking the truth, when it comes to being a child of God. But I'm also not here trying to meet any people's opinion or standards. Again, that's the opposite of what I'm actually here to do. I'm called to love, not to appease, not to just blindly accept. I'm called to carry my own cross, and I do. I'm not called to carry anybody else's, unless for a time, a moment, there's somebody that needs it, and I'm right there and I have the capacity to, and I'm called to, then I will, and I do. Jesus didn't carry his cross completely by himself. I've had to let my cross down and have others help me carry it too. Some things get really heavy. This life is really hard. But just because somebody's asking for my energy, because they don't know what to do with themselves, does not mean that I need to give myself to them. Just because I have something doesn't mean I need to give it. It's about being able to recognize the truth of oneself, first and foremost. And I'm learning these things still. And I'm learning how to apply these things still. And I'm not trying to be ungracious or unempathetic, I'm not trying to be cruel or cold. And I'm not trying to be bitter. This person's just really narcissistic and I really didn't like the way that they responded to me, so now I'm just not going to give them anything. But the truth of the matter is that, if I've already given you something very tangible and very real, and I've watched you basically just be like, oh, okay, so you got this stuff, so now I'm just going to keep clinging to you. No. There's a difference. When Jesus was in a crowd and a woman touched his robe from behind him, the very bottom hem of it, and he felt it, and he recognized it, and he called her out for it. She explained herself humbly and honestly right in front of everybody, even in all of her embarrassment. That was what it took. If that were what I were receiving when somebody reaches out for my energy, because I do feel it. Even from miles away, I can feel it. Even from states away, I can feel it. If what I were to receive upon acknowledging that, making any sort of acknowledgement about that, or even just turning in that general direction, if what I were to receive was a humble, honest, even to the point of I'm embarrassed, but I'm still going to be honest, this is where I'm at, this is what I'm feeling, and this is what I think I can get from you, I can work with that. But I'm not dealing with the dishonesty, I'm not dealing with the manipulation, I'm not going to sit here and be somebody's puppet or somebody's first aid kit just because they don't want to do the work themselves while they're continuing to just try to damage themselves. No, that is not what I'm here for. That is a capacity that I have. And it's not when you're going to receive unless you're in the right energy. You want to receive my energy? Stand up straight. Match mine. Because I can't force it into you. I'm not going to sit here and climb down 20 flights of stairs just to be where you're at. I don't have to do I'm a real person at all times. Okay? So when I'm in I've been some places. So when somebody else is in an extremely low state, it doesn't take me hefting myself down and lowering myself energetically to be able to empathize with them, as long as they're in an honest place. But without that honesty and integrity, when all they're looking is to try to bring me down just so that they can feel a little better, because having somebody high up when they're feeling so low makes them feel even lower, that's not my problem. I'm literally here as an example of how you need to get up. You want to keep beating yourself down after I've already given you all of the education that I can? What am I supposed to do? Just keep repeating myself? Give myself more to you when you already don't appreciate what you've been given? I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. That's not my job. That wouldn't be healing you. That would be overcompensating for you, when I wouldn't even want you to do that for yourself. And I can't do the work for you. I've already done the work for myself. Each of us has our own job. Each of us has our own cross. You need a little help, I got you. But I can't get crucified for you. We already did that. We already did that. If you're looking for somebody that will crucify themselves for you, then call on the name of Jesus and God help you. But that's not what the word in the flesh is here for the second time around. That's not what the truth is here for. That isn't the truth. That's a scapegoat. That's a cop-out. That's an excuse. And I just, it's not going to stand. It's not going to stand that way. Not like that, no. Nope. Nope, you got to do it yourself. I had to do it myself. And I'm here today because of it. I'm no better than you. I'm no more capable than you. I have no more natural skills or talents. Like I said, yes, I was called to this work. You're being called too. But only those that are willing to receive that are going to actually do it. That's on you. That's your choice. And the only people that won't hear that voice are those that have actively pushed against it time and time and time and time and time and time again. Because it ain't just going to keep going for 2,000 years. It is still calling for the last 2,000 years. But it ain't going to keep up like that to those that continue to tune it out. You tune it out long enough, you won't hear it anymore. You want to be desensitized? Keep hearing the spirit. That is how it works. So as long as you keep turning away from every single opportunity you've had to change fundamentally for the better, and you've been like, no, I'm not ready. No, I don't want to do it. Well, when you miss that boat, that's on you. Because you had your chance. Sis. Time and 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 time again. I know it for a fact. I know that for a fact. Every single individual, nobody goes without it. Nobody, no soul is born, lives, and dies without coming face to face with that proverbial mirror. I was a hospice nurse for years. You know, I've watched people who, unfortunately for them, successfully evaded that for 70, 80 years. It was not to their benefit. And on their deathbeds, people who just a week prior, when they were just in pain before they realized that they were dying, were mad and bitter and angry, and all they could think was, fuck God, right? Fuck the truth. I don't want to hear none of it. I hate all of this. I'm so mad. When they realized that they were actively dying, can you pray for me? Can you tell me what it is that you believe? What did you learn in church? Can you talk to me about that? And that's not even like the answer. I don't think that you need those things. I really don't. I really don't. And I could be wrong. I was raised with those things. But I don't think I am when I say that. I believe that the Holy Spirit, the Spirit that moves through me, that allows me to have any wisdom whatsoever, to be able to discern anything whatsoever, the intuition and everything in me, I believe that that is in everyone, that everyone has access to it. But it takes a humble heart. It takes a humble spirit in oneself. It takes you can't be, this is me and this is how I am and nothing's going to change that. You're not going to hear it. Then you're not going to hear it. And it's just unfortunate that for so many people it takes until the point of them dying before they suddenly are willing to hear that. I don't think you have to be some religious kook. I don't think you have to become some crazy spiritualist. I don't think you have to talk and communicate like I do in order to be where you're supposed to be. I don't think you have to look anything like me or do anything like that. I think that you could very easily be somebody that I don't even agree with. You could still be exactly where you're supposed to be, in the right, doing what you're supposed to do. Whatever is best for yourself. Only you can know that. I really believe that only you can know that. And that's what we need to stop evading, is knowing ourselves. What are you so scared of? What are you so afraid of, getting to know yourself? You know? That you see other people having these qualities that you wish that you had. Man, I wish I could be like that. I wish I could look like that, or sound like that, or think like that, or have people respond to me that way. Whatever. Why? If that's something that you literally see in somebody else, it's something you already have within you. But you're so busy trying to see it in everybody else that you're not willing to see it in yourself. If you started seeing it in yourself, you would see it. If you wanted to. Because you would start being that. You would start fulfilling that role. If you really looked at yourself, if you really wanted to see yourself. I know I can act like a total bitch sometimes. And I can get real cold. And I do get easily triggered. And I've been through a lot, and I project that onto people from time to time, at least. And it's not right. It's something it's genuine, but it's something I am working through so that it's not something I'm constantly doing, right? I'm always doing an internal work in myself. Always. Every single day. I wake up, I go to bed, I do it in my sleep. Like, I don't have a free ride. I'm actively doing the work. This is part of it for me. This isn't something I would have just done. This wasn't something that I did like out of rebellion as a teenager when I was being told that tarot cards were evil, and then I was like, well, then I'm going to get into them. No, I didn't. I was obedient and didn't get into them. It wasn't until I was 30 years old and suddenly in my prayers and meditations and in my sleep was being told that I needed to start communicating with my ancestors. And when I started doing that, that I needed to start being open to these other types of spiritual practices because they would open me up to a better understanding of myself. It's not even about the tarot cards. It could be anything. I'm doing oracle readings. I'm not actually doing tarot. I'm not sitting here and telling you the future. I'm not sitting here and telling you about that person or about this thing. This isn't a gossip column like so many people tend to use it, right? I'm doing oracle readings. I could do it off of anything. This just makes it quite convenient, you know, and maybe it would be better, you know, and I would like to. I already did actually design some oracle cards for myself last year, and then they got destroyed by my client's grandson because he believed that they were demonic. And it put this weird fear in me of creating things again, because everything my mom used to do that to me. The things that I spent the most time on, that I cherished the most, that I had created, were things that she wanted and that she had claim to. She literally would just come in and be like, oh, you're making that for me? Like, no, I was making this for me. I was making this because I'm an artist and because I just wanted to get this out of myself. And she's like, right, for me. And then she has all of those things, and then she didn't even put them up until I lived there, and she only did that to appease me. She just wanted to take that energy. And like I said in another video, like so many times now, that's how it's been. So many of these things that I put so much time and energy to have just been robbed of me. And it's put this weird fear in me of like, man, it almost feels like if I put too much of that good creative energy into something, it's gonna get taken out from under me. But I guess that's what love is, isn't it? That's part of it. It's part of it. I'm gonna lose everything in the end anyways. I've already given up everything multiple times in my life. Everything. Everything. This last time was so much more than I thought I'd ever be asked of. But I did it. I still did it. And I know it's going to be asked of me again and again and again and again and again. Just keep giving it up. Just keep giving it up. but for the right reasons and the right causes. And when I give it up to the universe, it goes to the right places. When I give it up to some needy person asking for it just because they don't want to do the work themselves, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't do anything good. And that's where you have to use your wisdom. That's where you have to use your wisdom. You have to be able to trust yourself to know, you know what? This isn't a good use of my energy. I'd be better off literally giving all of my things to somebody I don't even know. Giving that energy to somebody else. Doing something else, somewhere else, right? That's the importance of knowing yourself and having that wisdom. I don't know where all of this came from, and I've been talking very directly this entire read, which I normally don't do either. So whoever this is for, whoever this is resonating with, whoever this is hitting for, take some time with yourself. Take some time in the quiet to meditate, to clear your mind, and to pray. You don't have to pray to God. You don't have to pray any specific way. I'm not telling you to do anything religious. I'm telling you to commune with yourself, with your inner self. Talk to yourself about your pains, your sorrows, your worries, your fears, your insecurities, your desires, your ambitions. Talk to yourself about what it is that you really want and how you don't know how you're going to find that, and you don't know what you're going to do, and you just need an answer. And ask for an answer. Ask for clear, concise messages that you can understand and that you are willing to receive and that make sense and that guide you in the right way. And you will find it. However it comes to you, you will find those things. The universe is waiting to communicate with you. You. Like you specifically. And not just through somebody else. You know, not just through those willing to do the work. Not just through different people that get paid to do it. Or that get the energy transference when they stand behind a pulpit. I'm talking about taking the time by yourself to really connect with yourself. To get to know yourself truly. Because the next phase of this reality is going to be a rough one for those that are ill-prepared. For those that don't know themselves, they are going to be extremely lost and confused. And there isn't going to be anybody there to give those answers. You're going to have to be able to do it for yourself. So, you know, prepare yourself. Don't stress. Don't worry. Take whatever stresses and worries you have and give them up to the universe. You know, communicate those things. Just talk about it. Just talk about it to yourself. You know, how a lot of this started for me was putting on a video so that I could have something to talk to. And just communicating that way. You know, if that's what it takes, put a mirror in front of yourself and talk to a mirror. Put a candle, light a candle, and talk to the candle. You're going to be thankful you did. If you really do actively, it doesn't matter how embarrassed or goofy or silly it feels, how awkward it feels, how like, I'm just talking to myself, like, it doesn't matter. If you put the energy in, you will get it back in a way that will feel so rewarding. I assure you, just do the work. Just be willing to do the work for yourself. You deserve it. You do deserve it. You are worth it. And nobody else can do it for you, so please quit waiting for a savior. Okay. Love you. See you again.